Good evening. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for joining us for our regular 5 p.m. Pacific live show. We're going to be changing the hours, going a little bit later, but I'll announce that later. But for now, you can always expect to be on Wednesday, either 5, maybe 6, maybe 6:30, but I'll let you know. Talking about U.S. immigration law, taking your questions live on LinkedIn, Facebook. Where else are we on? TikTok, on different YouTube pages. We're here. We got a lot of different questions about different immigration topics. We're going to just talk about general education kind of stuff without knowing all the details of your case, your background. I can't provide individual legal advice, but we're going to go deep into it. We have a lot of regulars and new people coming in. We love talking about U.S. immigration. You can check out my website, jqqlaw.com, for information about me and the kind of cases I do. But if you are doing a marriage case, for example, or that kind of family case, download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It's a free guide. It's 40 plus pages. It helps out everybody who's going through the green card process. But in particular, marriage and fiance cases, you can go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com to check that out, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. You're going to find so much information out there. It'll blow your mind. So make sure of that. But another fun thing now that we have more people in is I offer pro bono free 15-minute video consultations for winners of the live show. So what happens is every 10 minutes or so, my lovely assistant, Katrina, will name someone who likes, subscribes, and writes consultation whenever, wherever they're watching this, and I announce their name, and I give instructions on how to get the free 15-minute pro bono consultation by video. So all you need to do is keep watching, like, subscribe, say consultation in the comment, and then in 10 minutes or so, we'll announce our first person. We have 3 winners each time, or sometimes 4, but we'll announce our first person. I'll say their names and give them instructions on how to do it. So with that, let's get it started. All right, everyone, thank you so much. We have our first question coming from Tangi. Tangi asks, my green card EAD is approved. Can I keep both H-1B and EAD? I'm not planning to go outside the United States. So let's break down what this question is and what it means. This person, Tangi, apparently has H-1B visa. This is specialized knowledge employee worker. Someone comes to the United States for some job that requires a bachelor's or above, and they're working here. In the meantime, they're able to file for a green card, probably the same employer file for their green card. When you file for the actual green card with Form I-485, adjustment of status, you can also apply for work permit and travel permission. So Tangi applied, they got the H-1B, the existing visa, and now they have this work permit. So the H-1B, you can only work at the jobs that you are exactly permitted to work at. The EAD is more general, you can work at other places, but you don't necessarily want to do that because it might mess up your H-1B or status or future. So you'd want to talk with the immigration attorney private about that. But what's interesting is they have both. So they're asking, which one do I keep? Well, you don't have to do anything right now. You have your H-1B, you're working. Now, if you leave the United States, along with that work permit that you got based on adjustment of status, EAD, there's a thing called advanced parole you probably got. If you leave and re-enter, but re-enter with the advanced parole, you'll start working with the EAD. But you don't really want to do that in your case because you have an H-1B visa. An H-1B visa, and this is getting complicated, might be losing people here, but the H-1B visa is called a dual intent visa where you could leave while an adjustment of status I-485 case is pending, and the case still remains valid. It doesn't get disappeared, whereas if you had other types of visas, it would. So no matter, I'd have to talk with you individually, see the whole situation, but most likely you always just want to maintain the H-1B, travel back and forth with that. But there may be situations, for example, 6 months have gone since you filed for I-485 and you want to change employers. There's a thing called portability. If that happens, I still want you to do an H-1B transfer, as they put it. It's not really a transfer, or just use your EAD, but make sure to update the U.S. government about the new job, and there's a lot of stuff you have to do for that. This question could go really complicated if I want to go into it, but the basics of it is if you just continue with your work, nothing crazy is going to happen. You're not traveling. Just keep working H-1B. You don't have to worry about any of this stuff. Kadrama asks, what about if you want to bring your mom and you're a U.S. citizen? Well, it's possible. U.S. citizens can file for parents, their green cards. If the parent is in the United States, you can file the I-130 petition plus adjustment of status all together and get a green card if their backgrounds are good. If they're overseas, you need to submit the I-130 first. Once that's approved, then do a consular processing, which has huge delays right now, so that might be problematic. What we need to see is your finances and make sure you can show them you could financially support your mother. We also need to see all your documents, birth certificates, mom's birth certificate, marriage certificate. Older family members sometimes don't have birth certificates, so we need to see what's going on with that. And so there's stuff, but that's the basics of what you want to do. feel free to contact my office to schedule a private paid consultation on something like that. I can talk to your mom to see what's going on. But it's doable, but there's a lot of different nuances that I have to know about before I say exactly what to do. But generally, it's possible, so definitely something to look into. So we have a fun question. C user asks, what visa is Prince Harry on? And they follow up and they say, nobody seems to be able to explain what visa it is. What is your expert opinion on this? So, it's an interesting question. What visa is Prince Harry on? That's an important question that I'm going to get into because how's this guy coming and going so much, So I don't have any individual knowledge, but you got to keep in mind what possibilities are there for him. So you can always come and go with a tourist visa if you want me to, but you're limited as to how long you could stay and your ability to work. He's been here for a long time, more than 6 months, and he's working, so that's not an option. That'd be a violation there. Potentially, he could come on a diplomat visa if he's coming on behalf of the United Kingdom, but there's limitations on the work you could do for that one, and it seems like he's cut a lot of ties with his family, so that might not be the way to go. I heard in the news there's some company that hired him as their chief, psychological officer, something like that. Most likely, this is some goody little position they made for him, so he could then have an employer that can sponsor him. And they may have pushed what's called an O1 visa, extraordinary ability visa, to say this is a person has certain skills that he's the top of in this, and they let him in. Again, I don't know the details, and I don't want to be offensive. And although probably when you see Prince Harry, the U.S. government is just going to be like, okay, let's just hook it up and give the visa. That's probably what happened. Because most visas to the United States, when you're married to an American and there's a chance that you're going to be staying here and stuff, they're a little more strict on giving a work visa out in many of these kind of cases. So, a regular person might have some difficulties at the embassy or at entry at the airport, but probably I'm guessing at this point, he's using an O1 visa with that job that he found that they say works at. And the O1 visa could be broad. So he's doing all these creative activities and going different places. You could design the O1 visa to be much broader. So my guess is that's what he's using right now. There are tax consequences, a lot of this stuff too, because, his family's got a lot of money. He's got a lot of money potentially. And so you have to declare on your IRS tax returns now he's here. So there's some stuff you have to play in the visa categories you're going to use for that. He doesn't want to really apply for a green card because if he does, there's going to be huge tax consequences potentially. So there's stuff you have to play with on that. And he definitely doesn't want to become a U.S. citizen because if he does, he has to renounce his title. And I think they've already renounced titles somewhat, but I don't follow this stuff too much, but I just heard there's a lot of drama between them and the family. So most likely he would not become a citizen, probably not want to be a green card holder either because of tax consequences and other responsibilities. The O1, which is renewable, which is probably the way to go. And, being a prince, the U.S. Embassy in London or adjustment status, or I'm sorry, change of status in the United States, are probably going to be flexible with them because of the, the political nature and the relationship and stuff. It is what it is. Not everyone gets this, but hey, he's had troubles in his life, had to deal with a lot of drama. So let's hook him up with one. That's something. But that's my imagination of what he would do. But thanks for the question. Jeffrey says, good job, JK Law Firm. Thank you so much, Jeffrey. I appreciate it. I appreciate you watching the show and supporting us. Thank you so much. A reminder, we do have a free raffle. It's coming up in a few minutes. Just like, subscribe, and write consultation wherever you are watching this. And then, Katrina, my good associate, will choose one person to get a free 15-minute video pro bono consultation. Alexandra says, hi, will there be some issues with the lease agreement proof of marriage if I sign it from one more person, which is not in relation to the couple? So I'm guessing what you're saying is there's a lease agreement and you're using it in a marriage case, you, your spouse, and there's maybe a roommate there. Would that be a problem? It depends on the whole picture. So it's not, it depends on the whole picture. So I can't really say for sure what other documents in the relationship are there. How can we explain this all? But I've had couples who have roommates. It's expensive in America. Leases have gone astronomical. The housing here is crazy expensive. So it's not necessarily problematic, but I need to know the whole picture of what's going on in your life. How did you meet your spouse? Do you have joint bank accounts, for example? Do you have joint insurances, other kinds of lease, car leases? What do you do for health insurance? Have you traveled together different places? How long you know each other? So there's a lot of bigger picture I have to focus on. Just narrowing it on this issue doesn't do justice for me able to explain this. So I would just think about the big picture and be able to explain it if it comes up. Most likely it's not a problem, but I would need to see the whole case to be able to properly answer that. And at the end of the day, it's in the discretion up to a USCIS adjudicator whether that is a problem or not. So I could always say whatever, but they have the power and they can make mistakes. But if I see it most of the time, these things are pretty consistent in the answers. Marlon regularly asks, I just received my biometrics. No, I get notice for an interview. No, just biometrics is unrelated to when your interview is actually going to happen. All right, let me announce our raffle winner really quick. Katrina says Alexander Nanchovsky. Who we answered their question? Which question was Alexander? Yeah, I lost track. I will be some issues. Oh yeah, okay. So Alexander, here, let's talk. 15 minutes. That's perfect. So take a screenshot of wherever you're watching this, and so I can see that your username is you. And when you email me, I know it's not someone else. And just email me at info@jqqlaw.com. Info@jqqlaw.com. We'll schedule a quick video chat, and we'll talk about what other evidence, bona fides you have to see how to deal with this, and just talk a little bit. So just email me with that, and we'll do it. And so for other people watching, I have 2 more pro bono free consultations. Just stay watching, like, subscribe, stay consultation in the comment section, and then my lovely assistant Katrina will name the next person in 10 minutes, and another one in 20 minutes, and we'll do that. We are getting a lot of questions about how long things takes and the timelines. Unfortunately, in most cases, I cannot answer that. The whole system is a mess, so it's not something I can answer. But with that, let's take the next question. Sammy asks, my case shows 27 days after N400 interview. It's almost 4 months. Nothing's changed. Any suggestions? If you had your interview and it's 4 months, nothing has happened, then you got to start thinking, we could write a letter to USCIS to the officers, see what's going on. If not, you got to start looking, if you want to, into a lawsuit. But I need to see what's going on in your case to see if there's any particular issue that's causing this delays. Sometimes I have cases, people come to me like this, and it was never appropriate for them to file the case in the first place. And we would have known it was a denial. So I got to see what's going on. It's just not enough information in this sentence that I could really give proper advice on. But you should talk with a lawyer 100% at this point. Maybe contact them if it's appropriate, or maybe file a lawsuit if that's appropriate. I don't do lawsuits myself, but that may be an option if everything else, is good. All right, Usman asks, being a green card holder, what issues can someone face in re-entering the U.S. if they were arrested for domestic violence? Well, what could happen is at entry, they'll take you to a secondary room, take your green card, and put you in removal proceedings if you are, if it's bad enough. So it depends on what the charges were, how far into it you are, and if the officers catch it or not. So it could be serious consequences. This is something that you definitely need to have an immigration attorney talking with you throughout this. There's a lot of risk with traveling. Once you've been arrested, particularly when there's conviction. With arrest, it's just an arrest, but it could still be problems. So this is something you need to talk to the green card immigration lawyer on. I don't handle cases that have arrest history, so I'm not a good source. I come on this show, people think it's marketing. I love talking about immigration. Most cases I know the answer to, but it's not a case I accept or handle. So we're just here to give the best advice possible on this general educational program. But also, I wish you the best. Hopefully, the situation gets better. It's unfortunate here about domestic violence. Charlie, I think that's what it is. It's been 5 years since I applied for asylum. How long do I have to wait for an interview? So this is a big problem. Asylum cases are really, really backed up. There's a million more people than regular in the last couple of years filing for asylum. There's hundreds of thousands of people filing for asylum at the border. The system is super backed up. There's no fixed time as to when you will have your interview. But I've seen cases take 7 years to get to the first interview, the affirmative interview. And if they're denied, then you have court. That could take 4 or 5 years as well. So unfortunately, you just have to wait. There is no a limit to how long you'll have to wait. Dinithi Mahipala asks, my 10-year green card is on the way, but there is an issue with USPS. The question is, I'm planning on traveling internationally next week. Can I still use the green card extension letter to come back? I can't advise you to do that. Technically, it's not right. But if you go and it's still valid, potentially they'll let it go and let you in. I can't advise you to do that. There's a good chance it'll work. But again, legally, I can't advise you that. The legal, as a lawyer, answer I have to give you is you have to wait for your green card to arrive. If there's a big rush, you have to get what's called an ADIT stamp, added stamp, request an info pass appointment, go in person, show them that the emergency need for travel, and they'll stamp your passport with the green card stamp. That's the legal answer I have to give to you for that. Gurpreet asks, I applied for I-360 in adjustment of status. I-360 approved February. How long for green card move proceeding termination? Gurpreet, that can't answer that question. There's just too much stuff going on. Consult with an immigration private. I don't handle I-360 cases. There's probably no answer But this is just there's too much going on. There's 15 different types of I-360. So really, it's like, what I-360 do you have? What's your country of origin? There's too much going on. It's not possible to answer that question here. Basil Zane asks, hello JQK, do you have experience with Syrian TPS seeking TPS or asylum? Also, is the persecution waiver for J1 212E rule doable? Yeah, I mean, okay, so let's back up so regular viewers could see what it means. TPS is called temporary protected status. This is for people who are in the United States, and all of a sudden something bad happens in a home country, an earthquake, a revolution, some sort of disease or something. The U.S. says you're temporarily protected staying in the United States. You stay here. We recently had a Venezuelan announcement, and you can stay here and get a work permit. So if you're from Syria, you potentially could stay here. There's a lot of individual issues I have to see about your personal background, if you have other passports or residencies, but it's possible to seek TPS. I'm not sure if they have a new Syrian TPS finding or if you're supposed to sign up already, so that's something to look into. And asylum may be possible, it just depends on the facts of your case. So is it doable? For some it is, for some it isn't. They just, in two lines or anything like this can't answer that question. When you're talking about a persecution waiver for J1 212 rule, is that doable? It may be. If you feel fear of persecution and you don't have a third party country you could go to, it may work. But this is why you got to just call an attorney in private and talk with them. This is another case I would not accept, so I'd recommend contacting some other attorneys. But a J1 is a special visa category, so that if you're coming to the United States to do some sort of cultural exchange stuff, it could include some work, some education, research, and sometimes depending on what country you're from, once you come here and learn something, you got to go back to your home country for 2 years and be there for 2 years before you could get a green card in the United States or change status in the United States, that kind of stuff. So this person, Basil, was here on J1. They're subject to this 2-year home residency requirement. And so then it becomes like, well, how do I get out of that? Because, for example, you get married to a U.S. citizen, you want to file for a green card, you can't because of this 2-year rule. You have to request a waiver. One possible way to waive the J1 2-year requirement, 212E, is through a persecution waiver to say if I go back to my home country, there's a severe risk of personal harm and all this kind of stuff. It may be workable, but you got to explain why that is and see what the government says. So all this is doable for some people. I can't say if it's doable for you, Basil. You got to schedule a consultation with an attorney to review that option. But thanks for the question. Haji asks, is there a way to appeal an N400 denial decision? Yes. So there is a appeal period when your N400 is denied. And you appeal to an internal group within USCIS. And then alternatively, either after that appeal works or not, or even before, you could also go to the federal courts and file a lawsuit. But we got to see what the reason is. It might be cheaper and easier just to file for citizenship again if it's something that's fixable. But if it's a clear error, maybe appealing is good. If that's going to nowhere be lawsuit. So yeah, short, is there appeal to N400 denial? N400 is U.S. citizenship naturalization application. Yes. Whether it's appropriate or makes sense to do, well, we got to check out your case, see what's going on there. Case I probably wouldn't accept, but I got to see the facts. But another case. All right, next one over. 29 Super C says, good night. Hi, Super C. Good to see you again, a regular. I got my 3rd email from the State Department indicating my documents are NVC qualified, but no interview day yet. I'm sorry to hear that. So what the National Visa Center started doing, which I'm glad it has, is when you upload documents for an immigrant visa and you get what's called documentarily qualified, which means you send us all the paperwork and now we're waiting for the interview. Every 2 to 3 months, they'll send a follow-up email that's a reminder that says, hey, we have your documents, you're good, we're still waiting for the interview, which is really good because I had a case 2 or 3 years ago where we were documentarily qualified. 6 months go by, no interview. I contact the National Visa Center and they say, well, we don't have your file. I'm like, what do you mean? Here is the email you sent me that says you have the file, everything's approved. Like, no, we don't have any of it. And so, instead of arguing with them, then you just have to redo everything. So I'm glad that they're doing this to keep people in the loop. But these interviews at these for visas are stalled in most countries right now. So it's a disaster. I'm sorry to hear that, 29 Super C. Hopefully some good news will come soon. C. Ayla says, excellent response. Thank you. C. User, I appreciate this is a question about Prince Harry. But I appreciate that. Thank you for the kind words. Amy Malikas, you're a very nice person from Pakistan. Thank you so much, Amy Malik. I appreciate that. God bless you and the kind words. And thank you for the kind words. Hashim Assad says, I'm a citizen. I have a newborn son overseas. Should I notify the Social Security office? Well, no, Social Security office is the last person you want to notify in the list of people you have to notify. If you're a citizen and you spent enough time in the United States, you may be able to automatically transfer your citizenship to your child. You should have got what's called, if that's the case, what's called a consular record of birth abroad, CRBA. If you're a citizen, you are a U.S. citizen, and you have a child overseas. And then once they get that, yeah, it's good to contact the Social Security office. Doing it while they're overseas is a complicated process that takes a long time. So if the child is able to get their citizenship and their passport paperwork and all that together, I would have them fly to the United States and request a Social Security number from the Social Security office here instead of going through the embassy system. That one's going to be slow, really headache. But we got to see whether you are able to transfer citizenship, because to be able to transfer citizenship to a child, you have to have been living physically in the United States for at least 5 years, and 2 or 3, I always forget the number, 2 or 3 of those years after the age of 14. And that's, I've read this rule a million times. I'm kind of not being exact with it potentially. But so we have to see whether you satisfy those requirements, and then we have to see the birth certificate of the child, whether you're listed as the father or I'm assuming the father. So there's a lot we have to look into. That's something doable. I have handled these kind of cases, so this is something I partially do. Yeah, we have to see what's going on. But you want to look into getting citizenship first, and then secondarily going to Social Security, all that kind of stuff. Arsalan asks, what do we prepare for interview for citizenship? What difference? It's different for every case. I mean, the basics is, you need to prepare for the 100 questions they're going to ask you. There's a little bit of English testing, like you have to write this as a book or something, or the president is George Washington, some stuff like that. But other than that, you need documents related to what your situation is. So if you've been divorced before, for example, you need to bring original or certified copies of your divorce. If you've been arrested before, court records for criminal arrests or convictions, you need to bring those records. If you were in a foreign military, you might need to bring records to show that you honorably discharged, you didn't do anything crazy, all this kind of stuff. Not to say honorably discharged, but you got to bring the paperwork associated. So this is too general of a question. I can't answer it. I need to know exactly what's going on with your case, your personal background, before I could really answer that to Arsalan. So I wish you the best. Definitely consult an immigration attorney, do a practice interview, and see what's going on. But thank you for your question. All right, so really quick, Katrina, thank you. I'm going to announce the winner of the second person raffle, Hashim Assad. Hashim Assad, let's see, what question did Hashim answer? Ask, I'm sure we'll find it later. Hashim, if you could take a screenshot of where you are watching this and send that to me so that I can see your username, that it's you, and I'll reply with a link to schedule a private video consultation so we can talk on a pro bono free video consultation, 15 minutes. That'll be fun. And for those who are also watching, we got one more spot left. At the end of the show, in 8 minutes or so, we're going to announce a free pro bono consultation winner. Just, take a like, subscribe, and leave a comment that says consultation, and Katrina will announce the winner is to me, and I'll list it. So that's something cool. And just be prepared. We're probably going to have a different time slot next week. It'll probably be announced on my social media, probably at 6 or 6:30 p.m. Be prepared for that. We can come a little later, but that's going to be fun. And again, if you're new, coming to tune in, I have the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide, a free guide that breaks down the whole process, offers the basic strategies involved. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com to check that out, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, and check that out. I think you'll really be pleased with that information, and you'll really get a lot out of it. But thank you. We'll take the next question. Ahmad asks, I would like to thank you for your excellent videos. Thank you, Ahmad. God bless you. Thank you so much. If you had the time, you don't have to, but just go to Google, type in JQK Law Firm, and then on the review portion on the right, just put 5 stars. It helps me out a lot having positive reviews and the like. So Ahmad, I appreciate you watching. God bless you, and I hope I can help you further in some way. Thanks again. Olga, we finally got the answer we've been waiting for. My husband got approved for a green card application after 5-month wait due to criminal record. Thank you for your live videos. Wow, Olga, this is excellent news. It's always good to get this kind of stuff. I'm sorry you have to wait, but once it's here, it's here. It's like a relief. It's like getting good news when you went to the doctor and there's bad news and you're like, oh, thank God we won. Olga, I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you so much, and for watching in the live video, come out live. I started this during the COVID-19, the live videos, and it just dozens and dozens of people have been able to get help. It's an incredible feeling to be of service. So thank you, Olga. If you had the time, I appreciate just going to Google, type in JQK Law, and leaving a Google review 5 stars. You don't have to, but at the end of the day, congratulations on getting the green card. I'm really happy to hear that. So God bless you. I hope you have a great week and have a good dinner and have a good party or something like that to make the most of it. Thank you so much. Basil follows up. Thank you for your reply and explanation. I just want to double check if you take cases Syrian seeking TPS or asylum or J1 waiver. If not, what's your advice? I don't do asylum at all. I generally don't do humanitarian cases anymore, so no, I wouldn't be a good help for that. Who could where I refer that to? Basil, email me and let me know what city you're in, and I'll see which one of my colleagues. Give me some time, but email me info@jqqlaw, and I'll try to see who does this kind of stuff. I have a Syrian friend actually. He's in Detroit, and he probably does it. Ammar Allo, Ammaralo, his last name. But he could email me, and I'll try to connect you. I have another colleague, Always Kazi, here in Orange County. Those are right off the top of my head. Those are the people I think about. But email me, I'll let you know. C user asks, my child's under 14. They're required to submit biometrics and then to appear at a USCIS field office at a later date to get the certificate of citizenship. Is this a norm now? This has always been the norm. If you're going to get certificate of citizenship, they do biometrics as part of the fee, and you just have to appear. It's more of a formality, but they will need to go, and they'll probably have to do some sort of swearing in ceremony. Your child was a green card holder, you got citizenship, and you file for their certificate of citizenship. But that's the norm, yeah. So users, please provide tips for consular tourist visa applicants interview. I have the videos on this on my JK Law page, the regular JK Law page, not the clips page. But about a year ago, I did things to watch out for, prep for a tourist visa. But when you're applying for a tourist visa, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Just don't make mistakes in the sense that you wouldn't even know what the mistakes are. So if you're planning on doing it, talk with an attorney at least to avoid the mistakes. But other than that, there's not much you could prep for other than just go there and it's luck, really. Tajamal asks, have you any news regarding pending asylum green cards? There's no new news. No, unfortunately, I don't have any news I could mention. Sahara asks, hi, our case received an RFE as request for evidence. That's USCIS saying, the Immigration Department saying they want more information. But days after received a letter for fingerprints, to understand what this means, if the case is still moving or not, is it a good sign? As I always mention, the fingerprint appointment is an automatic computer thing that they just issue. It's unrelated to the request for evidence. So it's not a good or a bad sign. It's just the computer said, okay, we have a space for biometrics, fingerprints, so send it to this person now, but you want to deal with the RFE to make sure it's properly responded to. The next question, Asami asks, can we submit an inquiry for the I-485 green card knowing that the fiscal year ends soon, 2021? If it's outside regular processing times, yeah, you can send one. But unfortunately, this is the problem that's happening. I'm guessing you have an employment-based I-485. There's not much we can do other than be patient in those kind of cases. And 29 Super C, one of our regular, have a good night, Attorney John Khosravi. Thanks for all your advice and help, sir. Well, thank you so much, 29 Super C. I really hope to hear the news that you're in the U.S. I know it's been a long time you're waiting. Unfortunately, it's going to be a little longer probably, but hopefully we'll get you here soon. God bless. So I want to announce, Sahara also says, thank you so much and God bless. God bless you too. Thank you so much for everyone's watching. I want to announce our last winner, Asami KB, who just answered your question or partially answered it. You are our winner of a raffle. Please take a screenshot of where you're watching this so I see your username is you. Email it to me at info@jqqlaw.com, info@jqqlaw.com, and then we'll schedule a video consultation and talk briefly, pro bono, 15-minute video consultation, see what's going on, and take it from there. And for those who are just tuning in, the best marriage immigration guide there is, basics, download it free, no charge at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. You'll be blown away by the information that's in there. Marriageimmigrationlaw.com. Thank you, everyone who joined today. We're nearing the end of the show. I guess we'll take one last question. Srinivasa asks, what do they mean by I-485 transfer between service centers? Is it happens automatically or documents sent courier transfer? So sometimes one office is really busy and they'll transfer your case, whatever kind of case it is, to another location to do the continued processing of it. That's all it means. There's nothing you could do, and there's nothing much to read into it. It's just a matter of waiting for a decision. But that's it. Thanks so much. We'll see you all next week. We might start a little bit later at 6 or 6:30. I'll post it on the social media site so you have it. But with that, everyone, God bless, be safe, and I'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.